Today, we will talk about glam rock, a style that was created and that was developed in the UK in the 70s. At the time, there were two main rock styles: progressive, symphonic and jazz rock, very sophisticated, and in the other side, a more duet rock with hard rock and heavy metal. Glam rock is in the second category. It's indeed often considered a cousin of hard rock. It knew a success near youngsters because it's really dancing. This style is like garage rock, one of the styles that gave life to punk rock. If punk rock inherited its rock and roll violence from garage rock, its provoking side comes from glam rock, makeup, clothing. By the way, when glam rock will end, punk will take over. Late will come a style fusioning heavy metal and glam rock, glam metal, of which the sound is similar to hard rock. By the way, lots of glam metal bands are also qualified as hard rock bands. The beginning of the millennium, indie rock wave will revive glam rock with Placebo's neo-glam. We'll see glam metal and neo-glam later. First, glam rock bands are T.REX, Roxy Music, and of course David Bowie. Roxy Music played an experimental glam rock with Brian Eno's synthesizers influences. T.REX and David Bowie played a glam rock influenced by psychedelic folk, mixing folk rock and psychedelic rock, with an acoustic sound and saturated guitars. Queen too played at first a glam rock influenced by hard rock. The style is especially British, but American rockers like Iggy Pop and Lou Reed will play glam rock in the 70s. I stop here for the styles analysis. Pictures and sound will explain the rest. I'll also start with two bands I quickly talk about, to end with one of my favorite musicians, who did not play only glam rock, but several tones of style during its 50 years of career. T.REX brain is Mark Bolan. Considered as the creator of glam rock by its peers, he was a very good guitarist too, and its songs lyrics abound of references to Tolkien's Middle-earth. The band released 8 albums with T.REX in 1970 and Dandy in the Underworld in 1977, with hits like Children of the Revolution and 20th Century Boy. He died in a car accident in September 1977 at the age of 29, but his death hasn't been very publicized because Elvis Presley, the king, died the month of August of the same year. The accident place is now a pilgrimage place for fans. The band was formed in 1971 by singer Bryan Ferry, sax player Andy McKay, and synthesizers player Brian Eno. They are joined by drummer Paul Thompson, guitarist Phil Manzarella, and bass guitarist Graham Simpson. The band records during its first period 5 glam rock albums: Roxy Music in 72, For Your Pleasure and Stranded in 73, Country Life in 74, and Siren the next year. With Brian Eno's departure in 73 for a successful solo career, the band lost its main arranger, and from Stranded, the band don't know what to play and stopped in 1975. Bryan Ferry will start a great solo career, and the band will reform in a second period with 3 pop rock albums from 78 to 83. Roxy Music is still a reference with its glam and pop rock sound. David Bowie's career started in 1964 with the first folk rock album in 67, eponymous album also named David Bowie. In 69, he already knows the success with its psyche-folk album Space Oddity. Its third album is released in 1970, and it's the beginning of the glam rock era with the classic The Man Who Sold the World, still inspired by folk rock. Hunky Dory is released in 71 and contains the classic Life on Mars. David Bowie's fifth album is released in 72. The Rise and Fall on Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars also is a concept album featuring for the first time Ziggy Stardust. Ziggy Stardust, it's a role that David played during its glam period. The musician was disguised like this character, and its own musicians played Spiders from Mars roles, Ziggy's band. This album gave to David Bowie its legend statue, proving its imagination and its creativity, mixing theater and rock. Great songs of the album are of course Ziggy Stardust and Starman. 1973 is Aladdin Sane, Bowie's sixth album, released. We can hear a cover from the Rolling Stones' Let's Spend the Night Together. Here, glam rock sound is more jazz, and it's a new face of Bowie we discover into Aladdin Sane's character. The same year is Pin-Ups, a cover album released with the famous Who's Can't Explain. Ziggy Stardust retires, but Bowie enters in a new character skin before the end of its glam era, Halloween Jack. In the 74, David Bowie sent back the Spiders from Mars and releases Diamond Dogs with new musicians, with super hit Rebel Rebel. By the way, David plays all the guitar except one on these albums, and this includes Rebel Rebel's riff. In 75, it's a turn for the artist that composed a soul rock nymph album. We retain Young Americans and Beatles cover Across the Universe songs. It's during this same year he starts to play in films in which he has a real role, with The Man Who Fell to Earth. Station to Station in 76 has a soul rock, funk rock sound, with synthesizers inspired from Kraftwerk are the beginning of Bowie's new wave experimentations. Just to remember you, Kraftwerk is a progressive rock band that play music with synthesizers only. Kraftwerk also pioneered electro music. David Bowie takes the character of the thin white duke's identity during this period, always very good dressed. From 77, David goes to Berlin where his friends Iggy Pop and Brian Eno live. He's about to produce the Berlin Trilogy. The first album of this trilogy, Low, is based on experimentations because of Brian Eno. Heroes in 77 is a success with the eponymous song. Lodger concludes in 79 the trilogy with the hit Boys Keep Swinging. Any synthesizers on Scary Monsters and Super Creeps album in 1980 with a very good rock album marked by post-punk rock with three Bowie's classics: Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, and of course Scary Monsters. David Bowie qualifies this album as transition in his career. He leaves its moments of glory in glam and prepares to continue with already 14 albums. In 1980, he sings on Queen's Under Pressure, band he already worked with. In 1983 is the famous Let's Dance album released. It's a dance rock and post-disco album, and David worked with good musicians such as funk guitarist Neil Rogers and blues rock guitarist Stevie Ray Vaughan. Some very good hits like Modern Love, China Girl and Let's Dance are on this album. In 84, Tonight contains the Blue Jeans song and is also a dance rock album too. 3 years later, in 87, Bowie comes back with a really rock album that hasn't been as successful as its other albums. It's due to the explosion of new wave hits, including some one-hit wonders. Decided to continue on pure rock, he creates in 88 the hard rock band Tin Machine with its current guitarist Reeves Gabrels and rhythm duo bassist drummer. 2 albums are released in 89 and 91, and their success is moderated, but I found them very interesting. Generally, it's common the singer of a band quit for a solo career, but what David did is the opposite. He was a world fame and moves with 3 unknown musicians. That's maybe also why, in my advice, why the band wasn't a success. Bowie's fans wanted pure Bowie, and critics did not like this hard rock sound that was an actuality in the UK at time. The band commercializes a live album and then stops in 92. It's the same year he participates to Freddie Mercury's tribute show, during which he sings Under Pressure with Queen musicians. Annie Lennox from Eurythmics sings Freddie's lyrics. He sang to All the Young Dudes and Heroes. Tin Machine Experience, even if it wasn't a real success, restored David's music taste, and with Reeves Gabrels until the end of the millennium at the guitar, he produces some albums. Its 19th album, One Outside in 95, is a colossal work, with 19 songs including Hello Space Boy. The sound is one more time more electronic and experimental, with Brian Eno's help. Earthling in 97 is experimental too, with punk and techno finish on some songs. Hours, Heaven and Reality in 99, 2002 and 2003 are more rock. David worked on several projects after the release of its 23rd album and didn't perform live since 2006. In March 2013, more than 10 years after the release of Reality, The Next Day is released. It's the back of Bowie. A good album, and the cover is a reference to Heroes cover, a very good album. In 2014, he composes You Are in a Season of Crime, jazz song that is on David 50 Years of Career compilation. Nothing has changed. 50 years of rock and 24 albums, 26 if you count the 2 albums he did with Tin Machine. The musical career of this man is legendary, tons of styles, tons of roles. Moreover, he played in a lot of diverse films, and even if it hasn't been very successful, that's something. Anyway, David Bowie is a reference in rock, and I had to talk about all its career, even if its video is dedicated to glam rock. Anyway, it's the end of this long rock episode. If glam rock knew short fame from 1970 to 1976 or 7, it influenced a lot of styles we'll talk about soon. If you liked my video, share it to your friends and subscribe to the channel.